Good evening, Monday night, and we have just had a fantastic weekend of wildcard action to discuss. Unfortunately, the Colts obviously did not take place in it, and there is one game left tonight, I believe, which is the Texans versus the Steelers. And I'm sure we will successfully hate watch that one as well as Colts fans. We are allowed to. Joining me tonight are two of the gang as Nathan's going out trying for the Colts GM position to see how he gets on. So join me, Ed. Nice to see you again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, good. Good weekend. Relaxing weekend.
Playoffs are fun when it's no stress, right?
No Colts to ruin the weekend. So, yeah, good weekend. Thank you.
I'm joining us again. Robbie, nice to have you back. Nice to see you again. How's life? What's going on?
Mate, we are living the dream. I think that's how we're saying. Mate, it is nothing but a dream. Thanks for having me back on.
No worries. I'm going to say if it's a dream about the Colts, then it's definitely a nightmare. But we've got a little fun exercise afterwards to see how we would fix the Colts if we would appoint the GM. But we'll get to that in part two. Not that I've got a clever intermission planned. We've not got that much of a budget. Just a part two coming up. But part one, we're going to be looking back at all the fantastic wild card action because there was a AFC South team in playing in the playoffs. Not anymore. Losers. Let's talk about it. So the obvious game I'm referring to, I'm sure we'll go through the others, but the Jaguars lost a nail biter to the Bills, and I've got to say my highlight of this game was Josh Allen and the Bills after the Bills voted against the tush push, using the tush push to win the playoff games. I did like the Jaguars went for we'll let them score and then immediately give up the ball to ruin any hopes of a comeback. So that was also quite funny. But who wants to go first on this one?
Yeah. I'm happy too. I thought it was a really good game, to be honest with you. I think as much as we sit here and sort of, I know we're only joking, sort of quietly mocking the Jaguars, they played the Bills hard and they were, I wouldn't say unlucky because they literally threw it away at the end, but it was a close game. And I think the difference was one MVP caliber quarterback versus another quarterback who's probably not, well, he's definitely not at that level, may never reach that level. I don't know. But no, I thought the Jags played quite well. I think Jacoby Myers has been a great signing for them. I thought the defense was good again. I mean, they're just everything that Ballard said in his end of season conference about being faster and stronger on defense, kind of watched a real life example of it with Jacksonville. So maybe that's where he got the idea from. I don't know. But yeah, I thought the Jags can potentially count themselves unlucky. We can maybe breathe a little sigh of relief, although we've still got an intake tonight with the Texans still to go. But yeah, I thought it was a really good game of playoff football.
Robbie, any thoughts on this game? Did you watch this game?
I did, mate. This is a sort of game that can make you fall back in love with the sport. It was fast. It was action-packed. It was back and forth. There were punches thrown. And yeah, this is a sort of game we just love to watch. You know, if you're even new to the sport, having a game like that to watch, it was a delight to, after watching the Colts all season. Watching that was an absolute delight. And Ed, just to pick up on your point there about the QBs, because I think it was a really good point. You got polar ends how I feel of the QB game. You know, when Josh Allen the first couple of years in, my God, I fell in love with the bloke because he is everything you want in a quarterback. He's a pocket passer that can run, that's darn easy on the eye, which helps. And he's everything you want in a quarterback. And before the game, I think it was on Sky, they showed a stat of Lawrence's interception rates. So his first first 11 weeks versus afterwards. The first 11 weeks he was making all these silly throws and being intercepted everywhere. Then they kind of said, he's straightened up and he's focused up. Well, he had 2 very big interceptions in a game that matters. And one thing we haven't been able to do is when the game's mattered, we haven't been able to turn it into a win because we haven't got that experience or that naivety or call it what, or even that mental strength. Whereas I think Jaguars shot themselves in the foot with their quarterback again.
Yeah, and I still think Trevor Lawrence is an overrated bum who never should have gone first overall. But
but I mean,
but how many times have we? Go on.
No, go on. I'll let you finish your point. I was going to make a generic point. Go on. I'll let you.
Sorry. I think I've got a delay. Yeah, I think I've got a delay my end. Sorry. Harrison, how many times have we sat here and looked at the number 1 overall quarterbacks taken in the draft, and how many of them are busts? How many round 1, not even first pick, round 1 QBs have gone that have been busts? And I will keep talking about it. If you're taking a quarterback in round 1, they've got to be ready. They can't be projects. And the way the college game is, every quarterback coming in at the moment is a project.
Yeah. And we mention it all the time, and I suppose so. Josh Allen is probably the perfect example of taking a quarterback, developing him, and turning him into a superstar. I suppose I can't remember when Mahomes was taken.
What year?
3rd round, wasn't it?
Was it the 3rd round? I'm just trying to look back and think of who was the last superstar first round quarterback.
Well, the good news about it, 10th overall in the 2017 draft.
Yeah. Was Mahomes the same draft as Allen?
No, I think it was a year.
Good thing about that, mate.
A year after.
I mean, we don't need to go back into the history of QBs drafted, but I'm just trying to think of Robbie's point there. Who are the shining examples of a successful QB draft compared to the Colts?
You can. I mean, if you look in recent history, obviously you had that historic draft a couple of years back, didn't you? Where there were 6 quarterbacks taken in the first, 12 picks or something like that. And if you look at those, I mean, you've got Drake May, who's now potentially on course for an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Caleb Williams, and I know we'll talk about these games probably, who led the Bears to that comeback victory against Green Bay. You've got Jaden Daniels, who obviously led Washington to the championship game in his first year. You've got Bo Nix, who's got Denver to number 1 seed overall. So there have been some good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's just we managed to hit on the one
top
10 pick that looks like it might not be working out.
We got Riley Leonard. I had him back there.
I like Riley Leonard.
Go on, Robbie. That was a big sign.
I've just looked at the 2017 draft. Disgusting. So, right, Myles Garrett goes first. You got to say, first round pick, had a good career.
Yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky was the first quarterback taken.
Yeah,
Christian McCaffrey was taken as well.
Yeah.
Jamal Adams. That was the year we took Malik Hooker. Four places after Patrick Mahomes.
Nobody wants Patrick.
Disgusting.
Anyway.
Can I just to throw a point out there then? If we look back at previous drafts, this to me, because the Colts have come in for a lot of stick about the Sauce Gardner trade, like this to me kind of emphasised a bit more why I'm okay with the Sauce Gardner trade, because the draft is such a lottery, isn't it? When you think about it, we've given away 2 firsts. All right, steep price to pay, but you've got potentially one of the best cornerbacks in the league. The Colts aren't going to draft one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
Not when they're drafting 15, 16 every bloody year.
Do you really trust Ballard to draft a high, decent cornerback?
Ballard to draft anything, to be honest with you. But
anyway, enough of Ballard for now. We will get to him, but let's move on to the next game. The next game I am thinking of, because I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head, because like usual, I always keep notes very handily prepared. The next game we can talk about are, I guess, the Eagles versus the
Rams. Panthers was the first game.
Oh, yeah, Rams Pats. Let's go. Rams played Panthers. I'll get there in the end. A nail biter in the end for old Bryce Young. But the Rams are just insanely good. They've just got so many gears to go through, and that's what a well GM'd, well coached team built over time ends up looking like. And I just can't help but be jealous in the best possible way to the Rams. We felt Puka Nacua punched in the face a couple of times recently, I'm still not over that drop ball. But no, fair play to the Rams. And like I say, if this was like a stock market, I don't think I'd have them at a stock rising, because you would expect them to beat the Panthers, I guess, quite handedly. But it's the playoffs, so job's done, I guess. It was a good game. I'm just trying to think of much more to say than that's the only thing when you get these like Super Bowl contenders versus a weak division winner, and it's a bit like,
Yeah, I think Carolina may be coming in a year early. I heard the phrase sort of leading up to the game that Carolina are playing with house money. And I kind of get that, in the sense that they're in the playoffs when they probably didn't expect to be. They're probably ahead of schedule, to use that phrase. And I get that. I mean, if I was a Panthers fan, I'd probably be quite optimistic looking ahead, because I do think you can argue that Bryce Young is starting to look like, again, maybe not a number one overall pick, but he's certainly starting to play like a first round quarterback. They've got a good young roster. They've got some good weapons, good running backs. They drafted well on defense last year as well, and I think Carolina could be a team for the next couple of years. And they played the Rams. They played the Rams really close. There's not really much more like I can add about the Rams. The Rams are a really, really great team. Selfishly, they're the team I want to see go on and win it, purely because I saw them live earlier in the year. That was a kind of tick list for me. I wanted to see Matthew Stafford before he probably hangs it up, because I think he is one of the great quarterbacks of the last however many years. I really like Matthew Stafford. Yeah. Seeing him live was an absolute treat. He absolutely destroyed Jacksonville that day. Mm-hmm. And I think that the Rams are legitimate contenders to win the Super Bowl this year.
Rob?
I think you've both hit the nail on the head. I think their coaching is unreal. Mm-hmm. Sean McVay, is it Matt LaFleur?
Yeah,
the offensive coordinator. They look like a well-drilled team. Ed, I really like your point on Matt Stafford, because I think when he was at Detroit, he had a bad rep. Mm-hmm. Obviously, but that's a franchise that's really not done well for many, many years. And I think when we're looking at the Rams, whenever I think Rams now, I think of their tight ends. They've got Tyler Higbee and a couple of others that always show up. Yeah. And as Harrison knows, tight ends win your championships.
Go with that. So I'll move to. We can go to what I think was probably sort of the I'm here game for Caleb Williams, overcoming the rivalry game with a big second half comeback. In the playoffs is extremely impressive. I will just say, is it Brian Pauls? Is still an idiot for taking Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. But, I'll keep thanking him for that. But when you've got a serious head coach, Ed, look what happens.
Yeah, I mean they have got their quarterback. I mean, I think Ben Johnson's a great play caller, and he's undoubtedly sort of turned Chicago around. They had a lot of pieces. They had a lot of pieces there, not dissimilar to ourselves. To be fair, they had. I don't want to keep bringing it back to the Colts, but I will because that's what I do. But they had a lot of pieces in place, and yeah, they got a good play call, and everything seems to be coming together for them. Flipping it to Green Bay, if I'm the Packers, I'm probably a little bit.
Oh, you're sick to your stomach, aren't you?
You're sick to your stomach the way it happened. I mean, again, I saw a comment earlier that made me chuckle from a Colts fan saying, what would we have done in that situation? Like losing to a divisional rival in a playoff game like that. How could Shane have managed to?
We did what they did, but just over a whole season.
Yeah, we had to watch it in slow. We had to watch it in slow motion. Like you only had half an hour of it. We had like 3 months of it. So, but no, I think because obviously there was the big hurrah with going in for Mike Parsons, who then done his cruciate, which was a real shame because you don't want to see any player get an injury like that, and certainly not one as good as Mike Parsons. But you make a move like that. When you've got a roster already as good as Green Bay's, then that's kind of a signal that we're people said that the Colts went all in with the Source trade. That's the going all in trade, isn't it, for Mike Parsons? Yeah. And to lose in that way in the divisional to your rivals, I mean, that's got to be sick to your stomach. Although I did see Adam Schefter saying that they're trying to work out a deal to keep Matt LaFleur as head coach. So don't know. Let's watch this space. Oh, they're not making changes either by the looks of it.
I mean, Robbie, we as sports fans, we've all been on both sides of these football games, where you have a miraculous comeback or you lose, like you 3-1 up and you lose 4-3 in soccer terms, obviously. Yeah. The Colts do it very famously, like at least once a year. So I still remember the Baltimore game a couple of years back, and there's probably a few more, but when you are as a fan, like I can imagine being a Green Bay fan still today, and I don't think I would have said a word, like not even to anyone. I'd still be sat there on my couch, just like what a waste of a year, because it's heartbreaking.
I would say though, chaps, that's the Bears Super Bowl. That's them done now.
Yeah,
that win, I think, would have been too draining, and I think when you look at the psychological side of the game, I'd say that's them now. I can't see him going on past this. I might be wrong, and it might be that catalyst that kicks him on, but from watching enough sport over the years, I think that I think that's them done.
Yeah, I know what you're saying because it happens so many times, right? You hype yourself up for a game as a player, as a coach, and you put everything into that game to win it, and then the next game, whether you won or lost the last one, you just can't kick it up into gear, Ed.
The emotional energy, isn't it, that you expunge on a game like that?
Yeah, it is. The congratulations to Caleb Williams and the Bears, because I have nothing against them apart from there might be the Indiana Bears next year, depending on how the stadium move goes. That would cause some havoc, but that's all fun. So move on next to the 49ers, who have just blown all the excuses that the USAs that Shane Steichen, that Chris Ballard gave out the water, because they went and beat the reigning champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, with half their team injured. Oh, look, a good head coach knows how to coach through a game with adversity. Who would have thought it? Not me. Ed, what did you think of the trick play to Christian McCaffrey?
You gotta love it. Yeah, you gotta love it. I mean, I would say as well, just you talk about the injuries. They also suffered another horrendous one, didn't they, last night with George Kittle? I mean, that sucks. Another huge player for them. But yeah, the trick play was cool. Also, I don't know what you both think. I'm interested about Brock Purdy. Like, I think that Brock Purdy doesn't necessarily get the credit he... Huh?
Did you say Riley Leonard? I thought you said Riley Leonard. It sounded like Riley Leonard.
I think it's time that, Brock Purdy, because obviously he's always going to be tagged with this Mr. Irrelevant, and people always hark back to where he was drafted. But this guy is just a straight up winner. Like, he's done everything that's ever been asked of him in that 49ers team. He's gone on the road to this reigning Super Bowl champions with a beat-up team and won. Like, I think Brock Purdy wins.
I mean, do you think it's relevant? Because I think this is very important, right? And I think Uncle Phil alluded to this when he came back, and he said for him, the game's always been the neck up because he was never athletic. So when you get someone, when you're drafted as, I hate using the term, but Mr. Irrelevant, but when you're drafted to the league and you're the last pick, do you think it's the lack of pressure what has helped propel him into a successful career? Because we've seen what, it's like the £100 million transfer, what goes wrong, or the big NFL trade that goes wrong because there's a price tag that comes along with them things. It's not the player's fault. But obviously expectations different. Do you think that's helped?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, because in the same sense, he can't help the tag Mr. Irrelevant. Like you say, he can't help where he was drafted. There's a part of me that thinks he'd have been better off being undrafted. That might have. He may have had, like, he won't always be tarnished. Not tarnished. It's wrong. Maybe a bit too strong. But this kind of like, there's always seems to be this element of doubt about him. But ever since he's come into the league, he's just won. Like, he's been to the Super Bowl. He's been to the championship game. He's won he's just won a road game at the Super Bowl champions with, like you said, Harrison, half the team out on IR. It's really impressive, and I think he just deserves maybe a bit more praise. When people talk about top quarterbacks in the league, I think Brock Purdy maybe deserves a bit more to be in that conversation a bit more. I'm not comparing him to like a Josh Allen or a Joe. I'm not saying he's a magic quarterback, but he's a very, very, very good NFL quarterback.
He's Robbie. Brock Purdy's going to start the old, is it the quarterback or is it the system debate soon, isn't he?
Do you know what? This for me is one of the reasons falling out of love with the NFL, because you've got all these people that constantly talk and try to make news about the NFL, but it's always to do with the fashionable names.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Brock Purdy hasn't got a fashionable name, so he doesn't get that talked about. You don't hear that he's been out drinking. You don't hear about him anything at all. He's just a good pro that's calm under pressure.
Yeah.
And I think I bring it back to the I think we've got one of them.
Yeah.
And I think this is what the NFL is about. It's not about the big, Sauce Gardner who's there with the egos for the silly trades, and everyone that wears these big gold chains, like wide receivers wearing chains or hoodies. Like, look, you're there because your marketing guys told you to wear it.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy brings you back to what the game is. It's a guy there who's got 4 people constantly trying to smash him in the face. He's got all the big fat men, the 5 in front of him, and he's just calm under pressure. And he just keeps the ball ticking over.
Yeah.
And he makes it look very, very simple. But saying that, if I Christian McCaffrey, but if I Christian McCaffrey there, I'm sure I can move the ball. Because for me, Christian McCaffrey is generational talent.
Yeah,
I wouldn't disagree. Love watching him play.
Yeah,
he's one of them players that you always think something's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? When he's on the field, something's going to happen. When McCaffrey's on the
imagine
field.
his team. But imagine what the 49ers would be if they had Nick Bosa still. Because obviously he's out injured, isn't he?
Yeah.
Fred Warner
out injured.
It's crazy how they've kept going. To be honest with you,
honestly, and that's why I just when I see the same excuse,
I really don't like the Eagles.
I think they are a bit of a. I think. Do you know what it is? Like Sirianni's one of them, isn't he? Like he's a very. I don't want to use the word obnoxious, but he's very.
Yes, he's a twat. Like that's his whole. I don't say that. I really don't say that like demeaningly, but he's a gobshite of a coach. That's his whole personality, which I do think you need a bit of that when you're managing in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I agree.
No, but go on, Rob.
We're getting towards the end of the 49ers Eagles, and we're talking about obnoxious and arseholes and twats. I'd like to say, can we just skip the Patriots winning in the playoff again? Don't want to talk about the Patriots.
I didn't realize they were playing. Where are they from? Well, again, yeah. So we'll move on. We'll move on. Like
can we just?
I mean, what we can do is we can talk about how the Chargers.
I've got no interest talking about the Patriots winning a playoff game again.
I think the Chargers just didn't show up, did they? I think they Herbert.
I didn't watch it.
This is a more serious talking point, I suppose, because, like you say, you put, just we can be petty as Colts fans, and the Patriots, I do believe they still cheat, and Robert Kraft's a horrible human being, so yeah, but anyway, the Chargers, I mean, this is a serious talking point, isn't it? That they seem to be the Marks and Spencer's version of the Colts, where they actually make the playoffs, and then it just all falls apart after that, whereas we don't make the playoffs. So the conversations are starting to happen around old Justin Herbie.
Yeah, I didn't feel sorry for him, because I don't feel sorry for anybody that's a multimillionaire sports person, but he got beaten up last night. I mean, they are missing both their starting tackles. That again, if you go back to your point, Harrison, about a team that's missing key parts and still managing to win and make the playoffs, you can look at the Chargers. Both their starting tackles have been out with long-term injuries, and they've adapted. Their defense was good, but they just couldn't get anything going on offense. Herbert was just getting absolutely battered behind that O-line. So, I don't really know what else to say other than the Patriots will be playing. Who would they be playing? The Bills? No, not the Bills.
I haven't even looked.
Just Texans or the Steelers. They'll play. So we could have an ultimate hate watch if the Texans win tonight. Texans against the Patriots.
No, they'll be playing.
No, because I think the Bills will be the Bills will be the. What were the Bills? The Bills were the 6th seed, weren't they?
Yeah, Denver would have 1 seed.
Yeah. So the Bills will go to. I think the Bills are going to Denver.
Oh, that's a good game. I might watch.
It's a very good game. Very good game. And then we could end up with a Texans-Patriots game, which, like I say, would be an ultimate hate watch.
Or Patriots. I could hate both the Patriots and the Steelers as well, to be honest. Could we just nuke the stadium? Why?
I don't get the hate for the Steelers.
I don't know. It's like, I like Mike Tomlin. I've got a lot of time for Tomlin. Maybe we'll take Highsmith off him. Well, I don't know. It just goes back to the days of like, they just had to come along, didn't they? We were just asserting ourselves into being the dominant football team, and they just had to come along with their handsy quarterback, and just ruin it for everyone. But yeah, I'm just jealous of good football teams, mate.
I think tonight's game could be interesting, though. Steelers against the Texans. I think that's a really difficult one to call.
Yeah.
Tonight,
I was sort of hoping Tomlin got fired so we could go and hire him, but
no, that's not going to happen, unfortunately, pal.
Robbie, any thoughts on the Chargers and Herbert somehow managing to stop his line again?
Do you know what? I've got don't care for them. I think they're so far off my radar that I don't really. I don't care for Herbert other than he's got lovely hair.
He has got lovely hair.
Is that all the games? Have we covered all the games though?
Yes. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and just confirm, because I brought up where you guys were talking. Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, Bears, Bills, Broncos, and then Patriots versus Texans or Steelers.
I tell you, that NFC, those NFC, that is some high quality football teams there.
I'm gonna watch. I'll probably watch the Bills Broncos. I'm really excited to watch that one. No interest in the NFC because
I don't know if the times have been released yet.
I think the times have, but I don't think the games have. I think it's 9:30 Saturday, and then 1:00 Saturday night, Sunday morning.
Yeah,
and then like 8:00 Sunday night, and another one.
I think they might have released him because old Tony Dungy weren't too happy, was he? Because of like teams getting to an extra day's rest and stuff like that.
Right.
Which I get. Like, if you imagine a short week in the playoffs, it's last.
Well, going back to the Bills and the Jaguars game and talking to quarterbacks, I mean, Josh Allen took an absolute pounding in that game. I mean, some of the knocks he took one to the knee, and I genuinely thought he'd done his leg. I thought the way his knee kind of buckled underneath him, I thought they were in big trouble. But the geezer's just hard as nails because he just got up and got on with it.
He's just elite, and right. So that was all the Wildcard. I mean, does anyone have any specific highlights? No.
No.
Other than the Bills game has got me excited for football again.
Yeah, good.
I think that's cool.
Right, so we'll move on to the second part of the show, which is my chance to put you guys in the GM's chair of the Indianapolis Colts. And I just, if we can just expose Ballard a little bit, look at all the teams with injuries that actually made it to the playoffs. He finally found out that it starts with him as the GM of the football team. The football team starts with him. Like, who would have worked that one out? I'm pretty sure it's on your job description day one, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for another year. So, Ed, I'm going to put you in the hot seat first. Imagine I've got long flowing hair. I'm Carly Ursay Gordon. I've shook your hand. In 5 move or less, fix the Colts.
So I'm general manager. So obviously, firing Chris Ballard has already happened, presumably. He's out the door, mate. He's packing his bags. Well, the first thing I would do then is promote myself to president and hire a GM who knows what they're doing. No, in all seriousness, that if we're talking about fixing the Colts, I'm a big believer in not just it with the Colts, but with all sorts. I believe that it starts at the top in terms of setting culture, standards, everything really. Yeah. And I think what the Colts need is somebody at the top, so a general manager, not me, who would be able to build a culture and build a roster with an identity. Because sometimes I look at the Colts and, we're now...
I want a name. I want a name, Teddy.
I've got some names, but I mean, I sometimes look at the Colts and we're sort of three years in now with Steichen. I still don't really know, like, what would you say are sort of defining, what would you say the Colts football is? What do we, other than dick around with quarterbacks and
flaky,
fall apart in December, what would you say like our culture is? You know what I mean? Like, what I mean by that is you look at teams like, look at the Detroit Lions and how they've turned their program around completely in the last sort of 5 or 6 years. And that famous Dan Campbell press conference, when he said, we're going to bite your knees and then we're going to get up and bite your knees, and everybody sort of took the piss a little bit. But you look at the Lions now and they're a fierce, formidable football team that are aggressive. And you know what you're going to get. Yes, I know they missed the playoffs this season, so it's probably not a great example. But, every team's allowed to sort of take a backward step. So I would start with getting a GM in who can set a culture. Couple of names. One is the assistant general manager at the LA Rams, John McKay.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because, and we've talked about the Rams and what an expertly run organisation they are.
Mm-hmm.
He's also got experience of not having first round picks because the Rams never seem to have a first round pick and yet always seem to be winning. And I don't know if you're aware, but we don't have any first round picks for a while. So
And we don't win.
And
we don't win.
And we don't win. Yeah. So we need someone who can come in and help us do that. So that's one name. The other one will be Ray Agnew, who's the assistant general manager at the Detroit Lions, who's been credited a lot with building their roster and setting their culture. So giving him the opportunity to be a general manager and come in and build the Colts from top to bottom. Unfortunately for me, my plan involves probably a bit more patience from Colts fans because it's not going to be a quick win, because I don't think you can build a winning culture and sort of mentality overnight. But that's certainly where I would start.
Yeah, I like it. Robbie, apart from the obvious, same question to you. In 5 moves or less, how are you going to fix the Colts?
So you can't disagree with Ed in terms of what are we? We've had this marketing of culture of pound the rock, whatever it, hammer a lot, whatever the nonsense is that they do. So from my 5 moves, obviously Ballard's been murdered. So move number 1, or let's go from 5 to 1. An Irsay is not allowed to have any control over football operations. Okay. Look at, I know Carly's new, but look at Jim. Jim signed off on all these moves. From Grigson's days, the shambles that we're in is because of ownership. Okay, so we're going to go from 5 to 1. So 5, and Irsay isn't allowed to talk football. Number 4, our O-line, it needs to be nastier, which comes down to what are we? I think our O-liner is being a bit. It just needs to be a bit nasty. We need someone to kind of punch someone in the face, just to
get rid of that church,
just to lead from the trenches. Which then leads me on to the defense. Now, for me, I've taken over. I've sacked everyone. Mm-hmm. Right, we're having a whole new defense, a whole new offense. I said, I'm bringing back Chuck Pagano to run the defense.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Yes, it's a little bit different, okay, but he's great at organising. Like he was a defensive coordinator before us and afterwards, and what he was good at organising. And when you watch good playoff teams, they are organised. They all know what they're doing. And I think what we've lost in our defensive strategy, everyone seems all over the place. So at least Chuck, he's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, he's got the experience. He would bring that organisation. Now, where you got Mr. Carmen Chuck, I'm throwing a checkbook at Bruce Arians.
Yes.
To run the offense. No risk it, no biscuit. Right? He is the QB whisperer, and he is great with young QBs. And he's got a great football head as well. So you've got that yin and yang defense and offense. So with a new head coach, they've got that, the good angel and the dark devil on either side to kind of lead it through. And I think with a Bruce Arians offense, it's aggressive.
Yeah. It's air raid, famously made,
which
Andrew what he is.
Mate, not just him. You got Ben Roethlisberger as well. Even when he took over at the Buccaneers, he had Carson Palmer, who he turned into. Carson Palmer was average.
Yeah,
and he turned him into, and so, but that leads. So that's the first 4 points. Now, the most important part is stability at QB. Something we haven't had. Now, I know we've only seen one game of his, but Riley Leonard, he's had a year kind of sitting there and watching. Yes, Daniel Jones could do the job, but he's only going to be there, 2 years? Let's face it. He's going to be up and down, in and out. He's going to hit some good games, and he hasn't got that consistency in him, I feel. Mm-hmm. So with our new look offensive coordinator, Riley Leonard has got great feet, and he's got that arm. We saw 3 or 4 great throws. So I think we give Riley the keys for 3 or 4 years. and with that, just get aggressive. And I think that's the 5 keys that I'd put in there.
So you're done with Danny Dimes then? Sorry, mate. It's time to go. Thanks for the memories.
If he comes back, no issue. But I feel with his consistency in injuries and play, yeah, he them first 11 weeks, whatever it was, great. But I'm thinking developmental, and I think Riley Leonard could be that guy, should be that guy. Because I think he deserves that shot, and he's cheap. You know, if we bring DJ back, that's a big contract. You know, we've got people to pay, and when you've got that QB on that rookie contract, you can. I didn't like the trade at the time, but it is what it is. You know, we've only got 5 magical wishes here. Yeah, that's how I would.
No, I like it.
That's how I sort things out.
Ed, you got your GM.
Yeah.
Head coach, players.
So I love the Riley Leonard shout, by the way, Robbie. I'm a big wanting to see more of him as well. I liked what we saw in pre-season, to be honest, because I thought he looked like a mad bastard then, but obviously it's pre-season, so you can't really, it doesn't really count for not. But I liked what I saw in the Texans. So the GM was my first step. My second point was to get Shane Steichen. I'll keep Shane Steichen, not sacking Steichen, but going to get him some help and get him an offensive coordinator so he's not calling plays all the time. So you've got 2 that have come on the market recently that I think could help the Colts immediately. So this is a dose of sort of potentially could happen versus obviously my, what I would do. But you've got Mike McDaniel and Kevin Stefanski, who have both obviously been relieved of their duties. Now, I think both are probably going to get head coaching jobs again, but the Lions have asked to interview McDaniel for their offensive coordinator role. And I would think the Colts should be all over something like that, getting him in. Yeah. Just to give, so Shane Steichen, you're not an offensive coordinator anymore, you're a head coach. It's not your job to just, you need to concentrate on that, not just calling the offensive side of the ball. So that's something I would look to do. Step 3 would be assess the roster, which I'm sure we'd all do. And that includes making some difficult decisions around some long-standing players. So,
Go on, Ed. Get that axe out. Go on, tell us who you're getting rid of.
I'm not necessarily getting rid of them, but there's a conversation to be had on all of these players. Michael Pittman, undoubtedly, his contract is huge next season. There's a conversation to be had. DeForest Buckner, can we get any trade capital back for him?
Maybe.
Kenny Moore?
Yeah.
Justin Wally waiting in the ring. That's easy for me to say. Justin Wally waiting in the wings. There we go. Can we get anything back for Kenny Moore? Zaire Franklin, maybe not a difficult conversation, but a conversation needs to be had. Jonathan Taylor.
Go on, he trading him.
I just said, does a conversation
go on, tell us that.
The conversation need to be had about whether or not we can get trade capital back. Are the Colts looking to win in the next couple of years?
Go on, tell us your Trent Richardson trade if you get rid of Turkey.
No. My question is, can we get any draft capital back? So I think that the roster needs to be assessed. And don't forget, and I'm not looking to dig people out, but as much as we go on about general manager, and I do believe it starts at the top, that will always be my argument. We're also talking about a lot of these players that haven't won anything in Indianapolis. There's only so many times you can blame a head coach, you can blame a coordinator, you can blame a general manager. And I agree that they're the ones that do the preparation. They're the ones that obviously build the rosters and try and put you in a position to win. But they're not the ones that step onto the field at the end of the day. So sometimes, you do need to look at players. Step 4, once you've assessed the players you kind of want to get rid of, I think you have to extend Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
Got to pay Alec Pierce. Tag him, pay him, do whatever. And I agree with you, Robbie. I put down here about Daniel Jones. You've got to sort that out, but a maximum, and I've written this, a maximum 2-year deal, because I don't think he's going to be fully healthy next year. I don't know what world the Colts think that coming off an Achilles, he's going to be able to play a full season.
And a broken leg.
And a broken. Jeez, poor guy. Poor guy. It's got to be 2 year max. The reason I put 2 years as well is because, to your point, I love the idea of Riley Leonard, but in 2 years we're also going to have our first round pick back.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a case of in 2 years, Arch Manning's potentially coming out of college?
Don't you dare.
Don't you dare. Are the Ursies maybe playing 4D chess with everybody at the moment, playing the long game? But that would be my fourth step, and then the final step, once you've done all of that, win the Super Bowl.
That's easy work. Like work.
Go 17-0, Harrison, and win the Super Bowl. No, I'm joking. I think that, unfortunately for us as Colts fans, I think there's a little bit of I think the ownership think we're still in this win now mode. Yeah. But I think we're so far from. We've got the bones of a good roster, and we spoke about this the other day, Harrison, when obviously we went on the Colts Beer podcast about how there is the bones of a good roster there, and playoff caliber, certainly in the skill positions. But I still think a lot of work needs to be done for win now. But they seem to be under this illusion that we can potentially one or two players tips us over the edge. But I don't see it. I think we're a good few years away.
Yeah, Robbie, you need to drop out, so we'll let you go now, and then you'll have to watch it back to find out.
I've got five, mate.
Yeah. He's sticking around. Well, you can stick around to my 5. And we'll let you go.
I've got 5.
Ed, I really like your ideas. Robbie, I love your way of thinking with Bruce Arians. I think it's better than our options at the minute anyway. So, but for me, gents, I'm bringing someone back to help out as I'm getting rid of Jim Bob, whatever his fucking name is, and I'm bringing someone back to help out.
Cooter.
Any guesses?
Ryan Grigson.
No. I'm bringing back Uncle Philip Rivers to come and be our offensive coordinator. And as much as he's friends with Shane Steichen, get out the fucking building, mate. You crap. Shane Steichen can go, and I'm going up. I'm driving my car straight up to RU University, and I'm going getting Kurt Signetti. You want to talk about the turnaround of a program? I'm not an RU fan, by the way. Like, I'm not a big college fan, but I know a man who's serious about football and winning and turning around the whole culture. They have no 5-star recruits and are playing in the national championship finals because of that man. And I like the idea of Riley Leonard. Yep, you've been drafted. Get ready to play. Anthony, sorry, you had your chance. You can't stay fit. Mm-hmm. It's just business. Daniel, thanks for half a year. You give it a good go. But if we can't again, Ed, you said at the start of the season, be prepared to see Riley Leonard because they won't all stay fit. If you can't stay fit, then you're useless as a quarterback. And so that's my third move. My fourth move would be we need to get younger on the defensive line. Got to sound like Ballard, but he's been useless at drafting defensive talent and just obliterated our front seven on defense. So, I'd go and make a big blockbuster trade. Why not? And I'd probably get rid of. It's going to hurt me to say it, but I'd get rid of Jonathan Taylor. Maybe throw in a couple of seconds, and I'd go and get a premier edge rusher. Maybe Crosby. Maybe Crosby's a bit too old. Try and find one a bit younger, a bit cheaper. But throw Quitty Payne as well because he's useless. Get rid of him. And then and then my last move, get Sire Franklin out the fucking building. We can I'll happily keep Jermaine Pratt, but Jermaine Pratt's come in for 1 year. He's older and he's just proved he's a better linebacker. And then I'd go and get. I like Highsmith for the Steelers. I like Fred Warner, but I'd go and get just someone. It doesn't even have to be someone expensive. Just someone who wants to come and play for the Colts. Mm-hmm. I guess my last bonus move, because I'm the host, so I get to throw my own bonus move. I'd go and get, I believe it's the Lions' chief football operating officer, Mike Disner. I might have just had an interview with the Falcons to be GM. I can't remember, but yeah, I'd go and get him. Robbie, I'll let you go now, mate.
I just want to finish on one thing.
Go on.
Just because this Saif Franklin slander, how can you want your leading tackle out the building? Because
he tackles people 15 yards behind, and he's lost the yardage. He's honestly, mate. I
didn't say I wanted to keep him. It's just a question. Usually, your leading tackle, you want.
Yeah, gone. You get somebody to take a punt on him, but I think when you have someone who's causing havoc off the field, when he can't even stop. Who was it was it the Patriots last year when was it Mac Jones? Maybe not Mac Jones. I'm sure it was someone even worse. Basically, ran straight through him. When you can't stop just anyone, when you're made to look silly every game, yeah, get out of here. But yeah, no, for me, it's simple.
Chaps, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, Robbie, see you in a bit. No pleasure. Ed, for me, it's simple. We need a change of culture in Indiana, and we'll just talk 5-10 minutes about I suppose, Ballard's presser and try and break it down because, like I say, he finally discovered that running the football team starts with him. And then he has the nerve to have, I guess, snap back. Was it who asked him about the culture?
I think it was James Boyd that asked him about that.
Yes.
I think it. Yeah, I've only seen snippets of it. I keep meaning to watch it. And then I saw it was 45 minutes long, and I thought I haven't got the patience to sit there and watch him. I just don't know if I can listen to it again because it would be. I can guarantee it would have been. I have seen bits of it. I'll admit, but yeah, like you say, it starts with me. It's not good enough. I saw the bit about him saying we need to get younger and faster on defense. I'm sitting there thinking.
He was just sat there telling us his job description.
Yeah, it's like I'm not fucking interviewing you for the job here, mate. Do you know what I mean? And why are you telling us in January that we need to get younger and faster on defense when the season's over? If you've figured that out, why don't you do something about it when the season was going on? Do you know what I mean?
Why did you bring back Samson Ebukam? Why did you bring back Tyquan Lewis? Do you know?
No, I totally agree with you. I mean. Oh man, yeah. The defensive line does worry me. What I would say is a couple of players there that I would have back. I thought Neville Gallimore was good. I'd bring him back on a obviously, he's not going to cost a fortune. No. You've already mentioned him, but I would take Jermaine Pratt back all day long because it's nice to see a linebacker. It
was good, mate. It was good. I've really not had a problem with him all year.
No, I think, it's interesting, Robbie's point there about the tackles, because I agree with him, and it's a question I've been asked by other people. So, but he's your leading tackler. So, he's a middle linebacker. You'd expect him to make tackles. That's what his job. That's literally what his job is.
And the players still run for 15 yards.
But it's the bit that I really struggle with, and this goes back to my other point about the culture and the players. Is you've kind of got all the bravado of somebody who's won the Super Bowl sort of 5 or 6 times, but hasn't.
Yeah.
These players haven't, and I don't want to start chucking them on the bus because these were the same players we were singing praise of 3-4 months ago, and they are good players, don't get me wrong. But if I compare it, and I know you like making your comparisons to the Premier League, look at Arsenal when Arteta went in there.
Yeah.
You had a lot of very good players, but the attitudes was questionable.
Wrong. Yeah, it was wrong. Yeah.
And it took him time to clear that out, get his players in, and now you're absolutely flying. You look at Manchester United, they've been screwed for years. They keep changing manager, but they keep using the same players and getting the same results. And it's the same with the Colts. you're now bringing back the same GM, the same head coach, and the same players, and expecting it all to be. Look, those first 8 weeks of the season were amazing, like beyond our wildest dreams, but we couldn't sustain it. And to your point, Harrison, you're right. Injuries happen in American football. Yeah. That's not new. And, it's not like, surprise, you've got a few players out injured. You build a roster to cope with it as best you can. Obviously, we did have injuries to key players.
And I'm not being like facetious here. I'm really not. But if you know Anthony Richardson was never going to be your starter again because Shane Steichen doesn't like him and he doesn't like Shane Steichen, why have you not? You could have traded him away. You wouldn't have got a lot for him, but you could have traded him away. Riley, your QB2. It doesn't. Yeah. Or you go and get someone. You go and get a Minshew or a. I'm going to say a Trubisky. Then that's because
like you say, an experienced QB2.
And Mac Jones, you go and get someone who is just a 6 out of 10. Like what happened to Anthony was a freak incident. But if you're not bothered about the project, why are we keeping him on board? And that again, that's more for him as well. Let him go somewhere and try and develop and be something. But the problem is we've got a GM in my eyes, we've got a GM who wants Richardson, and we've got a head coach who wants Jones. And then in the middle, you just got Riley Leonard.
Who I think we've spoken about in this show. I think Riley Leonard deserves a bit more of a go, to be honest with you. But you're right, mate. And that there you go. So you got the three most important people in the organisation. Really, your quarterback, your head coach, and your GM, potentially all on different pages.
Yeah.
Like, so how can you expect to be successful?
And then, go on.
No, go on. I'll let you make your point.
No, I was just going to say, and then you look, Davis Mills goes 3-0 with the Texans. I believe Matt Jones is at the 49ers now, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's won games with them this year. And just like, so when Ballard has the cheek to sit there and say, injuries this, injuries that, but every other team is winning with key injuries. You're not, and you built this team.
Yeah, well, and that I think is the key point. This is now you can't. This is completely your roster of your making.
Yeah,
and is he going to be the one to have the difficult conversations with players? Like Pittman, like Jonathan Taylor, like Kenny Moore, like Zaire Franklin. It's going to be a difficult off season, and I just don't see how can you think just running. How can you think you're going to make that things are going to change without making changes? That's the point I'm trying to make. Like nothing's going to change.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's not worked for 5 years, and we've run it back. Let's run it back. We've done it for 5 years. I mean, I guess Carly, to sort of like balance it out a bit, she knows this is Ballard's last year, regardless. Really,
he
would have to hit the playoffs deep.
Yeah, I think. From an owner's perspective, Ballard is he's not a bad GM in the sense that he keeps the Colts competitive enough to keep fans interested.
Well, he's a flawed GM, mate.
Exactly that.
You know what I mean? I'm in the middle of writing a piece, and it's Ballard versus Grigson.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And my point is, yes. It's annoyingly frustrating with Chris Ballard that he's been no risk, no reward for 8 years. He's chucked in and it's not worked. But if we are in this mess really because of the mess that was created with Grigson and not protecting the greatest rookie quarterback and the greatest pick of ages. And I know that's and I'm not trying to bail out Chris Ballard's failures and neglect, but recentism, if that's even a real term, I think really does shade. We sort of look back on them Grigson years, not at Grigson, but them Grigson years fondly because we was getting to the playoffs, but we was getting to the playoffs because we had the best quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, and you're right, and I agree with you to the sense that under Ballard, the Colts will always be within that 7 to 10 win bracket.
Yeah.
They'll never, and that's from a GM's perspective. That's what I mean about keeping fans interested, because the Colts will always be there or thereabouts, which means fans will keep turning up. They'll keep watching on TV. They'll keep buying.
Yeah.
But when push comes to shove, the Colts don't get over the hump. And that, both Steichen and Ballard spoke about that in their press conference, and that's the key. And my question to you, Chris Ballard, who's never going to see this, is, why do you think that next year is going to be any different to the last 9 years?
Yeah, I just wanted I wanted someone to ask him why he's like so. He seems like a man who's not bothered. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
and
I know exactly what you mean.
And I guess I would if I had the job security he does. But like, not even an ounce of, yeah, I messed up here. I was going to do this. I should have done that. I wasn't, like you say, and we've been going an hour now, so I'll try and wrap it up a bit. But, at the end of last season, the season before, Mikel Arteta turned around and said, I made a mistake. There was 2 times I should have been brave. I wasn't brave enough, and it cost us 6 points. And, just like I put that clip in the group of, oh God, who was it speaking? I think it might have even have been Kurt Signetti. And I'm a stamp for him. I really am. But it was someone talking, and I was just like, this person talks with such like confidence and authority and meaning and direction. And Chris Ballard's just like, we'll run it back. Yeah, I'll sign some players, maybe. I'm not going to tell you, maybe. I'm going to say just enough to get them tweets going. And then we'll sign a 28-year-old defensive tackle who's played 900 snaps for a random amount of teams. And it's just like, mate, like, just a bit of like, you say urgency and a sense of urgency, but I don't get that from you. You're not giving that vibe of, this is it now.
Well, he's in a contract year, so let's see. I would expect the Colts to be aggressive at the start of free agency to try and get fans back on board.
Yeah.
But listen, we talked about this as well. I'm not going to get too hyped until the season starts. Let's see what happens. But
let's see what happens. Thanks to everyone for joining tonight. It means a lot. We have gone on a bit longer than I expected tonight, but we had a lot of action to cover. And joining us, we might do a Thursday show. It might just be once a week now. Try and trim it down a bit for the off season as the players settle down, we can settle down. And join us after the Pittsburgh Steelers, I guess, beat the Texans 52-0.